So we're talking today about the standing up a brand new community of practice for the Research Data Alliance. There's currently only one community of practice. It's for the agricultural discipline, and it's been doing incredibly well. And because of their success, as an interest group, RDA took a look at the opportunity to expand on the types of groups and introduced a community of practice. Agriculture was the very first one. I was very excited to see the new opportunity, and but in reality, this type of group is rather complex because it expands your stakeholder community, expands your remit to being more umbrella and connected. And it's actually been difficult to get everything aligned in order to get us there. So the wonderful thing is we did it. We're there. And there's more to come. So what will happen is the Research Data Alliance, RDA, ESIP, Earth Science, Earth, Space, and Environmental Science Interest Group, which you are all members of or might be members of, will evolve, stand down, and the community of practice will stand up. So we are, I have a slide a little bit further in to give you a status on the case statement, so I'll hold on that for just a moment. And we did recruit initial, oh, you guys, I lost my internet. Okay, well, we're just gonna pretend it's working. It's my computer lost the internet. We will go ahead and introduce our co-chairs. We have an initial set. We still have opportunity to add additional co-chairs. So if someone has an interest in doing that, there we go. There we go. Hello, hello, everybody. Hopefully that won't happen again. Fingers crossed. It's fine. It's fine. It will be fine. Oh, yes, it will be fine. So we're going to talk the agenda. We'll introduce you to all of our co-chairs. There's two working groups that are going to give an update on how they're doing. One of them being the complex citation working group, the other being the repo to pub working group. And then we'll talk a little bit about the case statement. And then we're going to move on to our remit, the first activity that we'll do together as a community of practice. And we've received a lot of feedback, and I've been doing a lot of conversation with everyone. And I hope this is something that, for those of you who didn't get a chance to give feedback on that, this will be a really good opportunity for all of us, and something that we can do with this type of group. So something very unique to this broad type of community of practice group. If you do, it'd be really fantastic to get your feedback as we go along, but we want to be mindful that you to speak into the mic. Okay. Great. So our initial set of co-chairs, I'm in the room with us is Pedro Carrera. He's from the University of Sao Paulo, and I'm gonna, in a moment, I will let you introduce yourself. I'm gonna work my way this way. I hope you like the picture I picked. It's very professorial. Oh, fantastic. Okay, good. So I'm from the United States. There's another co-chair, Danny. She was just in plenary. She did a really great job. Danny Kincaid. Just thinking I may have misspelled her name. No, I didn't. I think I got it right. Also from the United States. So, and that's meaningful because the co-chairs have to represent different continents. So we're mindful of the fact that we did choose two folks from the US, and we have very different backgrounds. So that's one of the reasons. Leslie Wyborn, who's been a member of RDA from the very beginning, is from Australia. Leslie, I'm not sure if you're online or not, but Leslie did help us prepare the case statement, and she's been nudging me all along to make sure my slides were ready for today. And of course, they were ready right on time. And she's at the the Australian National University as one of their adjunct professors, I think now retired professor, and has been a proponent of good data management practices and sharing her entire life. She has a researcher as her background, and so it's really nice to have the work that she does. She's currently working in the area of geochemistry, and she's keenly interested in physical samples, the challenges with physical samples, and has been helping the group with the IGSNs, which are the persistent identifier for physical samples. Danny is at Woods Hole in Massachusetts in the United States. She is the director for the Biological Chemical Oceanography Data Management Office, also known as BICODEMO. And she calls herself a boutique repository. She's implemented the FAIR principles. She's working on the CARE principles, and has, I don't know if you saw her in plenary this morning talking about her repository. If not, please catch the recording. She walks you through all of the challenges that a repository has connecting between a research project and the many different types of data that come out of that project, and has been a significant influence within the community, especially in the United States, to implement best practices and helps other people do that. And then Professor Pedro, could you introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, Shirley. It's very nice introduction. I think this is very, very important discussion that we have here in the Earth Space Environmental Science. Thinking about South America, we have many problems, many questions discussing about this, mostly related with long-term collected data in situ. This is very, very good problem that we can discuss in South America, related with data management, related with data curation is very important, data quality. So thank you very much to be part of this group.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pedro. All right. So the first project we're going to talk about, and this is one that is currently being hosted through the interest group that we're moving to a community of practice. And I should maybe talk a little bit about why I think this is a different approach for those of you who may not be as familiar with RDA's groups. So an interest group doesn't have a timeline. It has a topic that it works on over time. And we stood up the Earth, Space, and Environmental Science interest group now. If Leslie were here, she'd give me an actual date, but it was some time ago now, maybe 5 years or so. And prior to interest groups are a popular type of group within RDA, and then they will spawn off working groups that have an 18-month remit. And it's 18-month because we want to encourage you to get things done. We have plenary and these plenaries in order to have your teams come together physically, and then you probably meet monthly, and then you work through the challenges and you create recommendations and they go through the process. And you don't have to be associated with an interest group to stand up a working group. It's just helpful because you get more people involved and you get more visibility of the work that you're doing. So the two groups that are going to talk about now are from the interest group, and they'll transfer over into the community of practice. And so we've really benefited from the larger interest group community on these two projects. The difference that I see between the interest group and community of practice is we are really trying to pull in the other stakeholders within the research workflow to solve the more difficult problems. We want to get involved with the instrument manufacturers. We want to have good relationships with industry. We want funders to pay attention to the kind of thing that we're doing to see maybe there might be an alignment. This is the hope of our community of practice is we can be a trusted entity within the Earth, Space, and Environmental Science data community, where people can come to us and say, I need help with, and we'll have the experts in the community internationally to do that. The interest group also had the remit to make sure that activities happening in one country, nation, or region were those lessons learned, that knowledge that's being built from that particular project can benefit similar projects happening in other countries and nations and regions. And it's that has been I'm getting goosebumps. That has been such a beautiful thing because it helps us all move forward. It helps us see the challenges and risks and opportunities to work together for mitigation, and relationships that have built from those opportunities to present your work. And we will have those, and the community of practice will continue that, and even more so. So if you are not currently a member of the interest group, now is a good time to join it on the RDA platform, because we'll pull all of you over into the IG, into the community of practice. The reason I'm not recommending you go to the community of practice is the website's a little wonky right now, and our community of practice doesn't have quite the right name, and they're fixing the URL. I don't want you to memorize it. I'm not giving you the link. Just join the interest group and we'll pull you in after everything's been corrected. Happily, the website's getting better and better. Okay, first project. So, Martina, I feel like they're going to listen to me all hour. Do you have the capacity to do an update on the complex citation? I'm sorry. Oh, your computer, please don't. Oh, I'd feel so bad. And I can bring up the I can bring up the Menti results to show.
Okay, I think we talk along that together. So the complex citation working group is one of the working groups which is about to wrap up. So we are just finalizing to writing our draft recommendations, and we presented them in the session we had yesterday. I think it was a very interactive session, one of the most interactive I've seen in RDA so far in a large auditorium hall. So it was, I think, really valuable to get all these feedbacks, which we want to incorporate in improving our draft recommendations. But first, what it is about. So we have started off to solve the problem that often data doesn't get really cited in publications because for several reasons, there are very many data sets stored in different repositories. Sometimes it's not the whole data set, but only parts of it. And so we started off to enable a higher uptake of data citations in publications. And during the progress of the working group, we added the traceability and transparency of the products and results to our main goals. So the motivation is written out here. So complex citation is to enable the creators and other contributors. So we want to enable that the credit not only goes to the creators, but for data, you have a lot of other contributors which are important in providing the data sets, but also other digital objects and physical samples. So they should receive the credit that they deserve. And the second part, as said, is tracking the continued and growing value of these assets. So really what is done with the data and how is it produced. I think I've touched the bullet points on the different aspects. Thanks. So our solution is that we want to establish something we call complex citation object. We started off with the term reliquary, which we got rid of in the end. So if you've heard of reliquary, this is the same approach. And it's a kind of envelope where we have these so-called linked digital objects, so only links to the data sets which are used, which are to be cited. And the second part, as said, is the linked digital object, and these should really remain in domain repositories and curated, and there is where the credit should be assigned to the creators and contributors. So we don't want the credit on the complex citation object because it's only an envelope and something helping to solve the problem that we have targeted. Yeah, and the draft recommendations are about to be revised end of this month. So if you have feedback, download it and get back to us.
Yeah, just checking. There were a whole bunch of folks who were in the complex citation session yesterday that Martina and I led. Does anybody want to, are you interested in more details? We could do a little bit more, but if you already saw that yesterday, then we can skip it. Maybe a little bit more detail? Oh, okay, got head nods. Yes, please. All right, so I saw three. I saw three heads nodded. So the recommendation document is some 40 pages, and so very quickly, the workflow actors required for all of this are quite extensive. So we're talking about the folks that are the creators of digital objects, like a data set. A researcher likely is going to be the entity here. The author team might be a different group. Let's say you're using somebody else's data and you're doing this in a large research effort, multiple data sets, potentially hundreds of images. You've got software, you have physical samples. There could be a lot of persistent identifiers or just linkages. And then you're creating that complex citation object. And then you're citing it in your paper. So now we need help from the journals so for those of you who are PID experts, this will likely be a DOI of a different type. Is that helping? Yep, I see faces getting all. Yes, so like a collection is currently a type of DOI, but a collection gets credit and the items in the collection do not get credit. This is the opposite. A complex citation, the collection is just administrative. It does not get credit. The elements in the collection, complex citation, get credit. It's the opposite of a collection, where there's value in the collection because it's the collected works of William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare is important. The person who put the collection together was a learned individual on William Shakespeare. And here it is a helpful administrative tool to point to all of the digital objects associated with the research or the report. And for the IPCC, it is one of the figures in the IPCC report to be able to give attribution to the data sets that went into these important research findings or reports. Okay, now I see nods. Do you have a question? Okay. Do you want me to go through the recommendations and then your question? Oh, I feel like you should answer ask your. Oh, no, please. We are of small group online. You just have to come here to get them. Hold on, mic is being delivered.
Thank you. And I don't want to use your time to go into a deep dive of this because I haven't seen the recommendation, but I'm curious as the credit for the contributors changes over time with versions of a digital object, whatever the collection is. We're saying the collection isn't the important piece, it's the actors in the collection. As the collection evolves, I'm thinking of time series here, like a data set that is continually versioning because they're adding to the collection, but during that time, the actors in there might change as well. And was that a use case? Is that addressed in your recommendation? Of course it is.
So okay, walk with me on this. So we have the complex citation object, right? The object. It is simple. It is and even the authors who create it, it does not matter. They're not going to get credit. So you can just say the research team gathered this together for the paper, right? Research team gathered, and then everything inside of it is a primary citation. This data set, that data set, this data set, that software, that sample, that image, that video, to a repository who's managing the versions. Okay, so the repository helps us. They track who the contributors are. They track all of the metadata that's important for that digital object. We hope they've got really good version stuff going on, and what we cited, let's say it's a DOI. It doesn't always have to be, but that's the preference. It's a DOI to that digital object that the host. If you jumped in on Zoom, can you just make sure your audio is muted? Because we're getting feedback. I can hear it. No, okay, all right, okay. Right, so that's how we solved it. Okay, all right, I'll let that sit.
Maybe I can add a practical example from the IPCC. So we will have 3 steps of different drafts, and we expect that these complex citation objects will change. We haven't really spoken about how, but we clearly also need a versioning of these objects. They are related to the object in the first draft, but for the altered figure, there will be, I guess, at least updated CMAP data in it. So I think we have to tackle at some point the versioning of the complex citation object, but it's mainly gathering new versions of the linked digital objects within. That would be my expectation. The real tricky part would be if we have such kind of Zenodo all version record. And I think we should recommend not to do that so that it's really precise what is included in these complex citation object.
And for those of you who find attribution and credit concepts to be very muddly, yes. And so I want to highlight something that is important for us, and it also leans in on for the co-chairs of the working group. What does it actually mean to get credit for having your data be used? So this is, we're asking the community to help with this, and it may be something we can get RDA to jump in on. So here's why this is of interest. So the journal can create the linkage, the authoritative linkage between the data, the digital objects used, and the research moment at the time. All right, so yeah, that makes sense. Are they good at it? No, but it's their job, they're getting better, and we're holding them accountable, and eventually it will be beautiful. Please. The citation counts that happen are not done by this relationship. They're done by other indexing entities, separate from this technical space. And the reason is because the journals are so bad that we pay the Web of Science, institutions pay the Web of Science to actually figure out what those indexes are. Now, if the journals get their act together and do a really good job, then this payment of indexing will go away. The probability of that happening really soon is low. So this won't resolve quickly, but we're working towards a better world. So we have to also work with indexers. The other nice thing about indexers, indexers that might be on the call, I just want you to know you're part of us, we love you. They can be, there's thousands and thousands of them. There's a lot of niche indexers. So we're not able to actually work with all of them, but we are working with the major ones. And if the major ones implement what we're recommending, then that will get us over the top, and we can work with the smaller ones. So okay, that was important. Okay, hang on. I want to show you one other thing. I'm going to hop out of one system and go into another. Super dangerous. So here are the recommendations that are summarized within the report. And we did a Menti poll yesterday, and we had some really good feedback. And what I suspect is that some of the numbers. So the 5 is the top number. So recommendation number 1, we want to be able to have enough information within this complex citation object in order to have really clear transparency and the potential for reproducibility of the research. So this gives us really detailed connections to the digital objects supporting that research. And so that hit 4.7. Not sure why that wasn't a 5. I don't know if somebody was grumpy. But the second one is making sure that credit can happen for those individual objects. And I'm saying the word credit very loosely because you can't make somebody get credit for something, but you can enable it. You can provide the information for attribution. So I'm saying credit, but you can't make credit happen. Those of you who are in institutions and determine tenure and promotion policy, you can make credit happen, if you see what I mean. Number 3, clearly demarcated object that's not a primary output and should not accrue credit itself. The envelope, the fact that there's this administrative grouping is not new value to science. It is just useful for your research. People they didn't all agree. Note that that one actually only had a 4. There were folks that really saw the value of the grouping. So this is something that we'll have to continue on when we go into maintenance mode and implementation. Okay, so I won't go through the rest, but you can see how they build on, and we had some really good, here's one that's a little bit lower. We're recommending that persistent identifiers be the primary, the preferred way to cite things within the complex citation object, but we recognize that not every source of data will have a persistent identifier on it. So we are flexible to allow other ways of citing, and we are encouraging different types of persistent identifiers outside a DOI to be included, because this will, complex citation object will be a persistent object. And when the publishing community includes additional persistent identifiers, the publishers can go back and correct the linkages. So that's a very nice feature. Okay, I will go back to our presentation. And I would like to invite up our next team, the Repo to Pub team.
Perfect. Okay, we had a quick battery change in the room. Now we're back online. Thank you, Shelley, for the opportunity to pitch a new working group that's coming online. My name is Natalie Rea. I'm a postdoc in the College of Information Science at the University of Arizona in the United States. I'm joined in the room today by my co-chair, Danny Kincaid, director of BECO-DEMO at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, United States. We have 2 other wonderful co-chairs working on this working group, Matthew Wark, who's at Taylor and Francis Publishing, as well as Leslie Wyborn of Australian National University. Our working group is called Coordinating Earth, Space, and Environmental Science Data Preservation and Scholarly Publication Processes, also known as Repo to Pub, because that's really a long title. So repository to publication. We are, we went through tab approval in August, so we are getting started. We are on the clock. We have a session today, which is my primary goal. If you take one takeaway from this spiel, it's that we have a session after lunch today. If you're online, it's found in breakout 7. We're going to be in auditorium 1 here, just down the hall. We are building on the work of prior RDA working groups, as well as the work of COPTES in the Earth, Space, and Environmental Science domain, to really address and establish a common understanding of stakeholder workflows and needs as it relates to data publication. So this diagram that we're showing on the screen is kind of our summary figure. We have a landscape right now where researchers are hitting bottlenecks and friction as they go to publish papers and hit various funder and publisher data publication requirements. We have authors that are pressed to try to find appropriate repositories for their data. They're pressed for time. On the other side of the table, we have domain repositories with their own needs as well. And so this working group is spinning up to really engage both the repository and the domain repository and the publisher stakeholders in understanding where the friction is right now, what's not working, maybe what's working well, what are domain repositories doing as it relates to enabling data review, what are publishers needing to be better supported in providing their authors with high quality information about domain specific needs and repositories. So we have a lot of work to do. We want to get a lot of people involved. And so please do join us for that breakout. And we have a website page that you can find online as well. If you log into your RDA account, you can join our group. Thank you. Thanks.
And I lost internet. Super. Natalie, thanks so much, and thank you very much to the gentleman who is taking pictures of us and making us look freaking amazing. All right. Oh, it came back. Oh, miracles happen. There we go. All right. Hang on. Hop in, hop out. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the case statement. And the case statement, the guidance. So one of the things that's really beautiful about RDA is they knew that the community of practice was going to be a real challenge, and so when Connie, somebody help me, what's Connie's last name? She's on maternity leave right now. The community.
Connie Claire.
Oh, God bless you, Connie Claire. Connie Claire from the heavens. Connie Claire has been an incredible help getting the community of practice figured out. So essentially, in order to move through the processing, we don't have to know everything right now. So we built the case statement based on, we want the entity, we don't have to know exactly how everything's going to work. So, oh, good. Come on, internet, hang in there. All right, so here we are. We submitted for internal review of you all on October 17th. So if you go to the Earth, Space, and Environmental Science IG, you'll see one of the posts, and I went and tested it. So the website is hanging in. Yay, RDA for getting that figured out. You can see the post and you can download the Word document. So, so please take a moment to do that, essentially so that you can affirm that what's there is good enough. One of the things that we require in order to submit this to RDA are letters of support from organizations. So back in October, I sent some crazy emails out to some of you saying, hey, could you quick write a letter? And I should have said, hey, it's okay if you don't have it until November, that's fine. So I'm not, Meredith, did I send you a note? Okay, you are one of the crazy people. All right, yes. So that letter of support technically doesn't commit you to like some magical thing. It's just, will you participate and will you help us get to a place where in fact, where there is something useful for you to adopt and use. So that is, I don't want anybody, there's not a legal agreement. So I do have a handful of letters. Frankly, there's no max or min number. So a handful is good. However, getting community buy-in, the more the better. So you will see a note coming from me following plenary asking for letters. So please be open to doing that. And it would be brilliant if the community really felt that this was valuable. So at the end of November, which is when we told RDA Secretariat we would be done, we will go ahead and submit with what we have. You're welcome to comment on the case statement. Please do that in the official commenting on the website post. If you don't want your comment to be public, you can just send me an email or send one of the co-chairs an email, and we're happy to talk to you directly. But if you don't, if you're okay with it being public, please make it as public as possible so that everyone can see the comment, especially if others might be thinking the same thing and that you have it covered, and that'd be great. Okay. So the link I have here to feedback is the IG, because the COP isn't up yet. It's the IG, the Earth, Space, and Environmental Science IG posts. Okay. If you go to the community of practice, it's going to look very stark, barren, and frankly, not the right title. They're fixing it. Okay. All right, good. Oh, Martina, can you pop the IG link into the Zoom? I think you're on the Zoom. You're busy doing something else. Okay, yes, we'll pop the IG link into the Zoom. Thank you. Okay, trying to, don't know if I can see, let me see. Oh, the chat has something. Let me check the chat. Oh, that was it. Okay, good. All right, fantastic. All right, thanks everybody. All right, any questions on the case study? That's literally all I'm going to tell you. We've had BOFs on it, we've reviewed it. I know some people are new to this, so you still have an opportunity, but we are going to lock that puppy in just a few days more. Okay, great. Okay. Imagine we get approval to move forward. We can start anyway because the IG can do it as well. But imagine we get approval to move forward and we have the capacity as a trusted entity at RDA to do some significant work on behalf of our researchers. One of the challenges that my community runs into, and by extension you all, because Earth, Space, and Environmental Sciences is all of us, is knowing exactly what to tell a researcher when they say, where should I put my data? What's the best repository? What's the best possible metadata? What's the best possible vocabulary? Basic questions that are part of data management plans. And it would be a extremely impactful effort, extremely impactful outcome to work globally with you all by domain, bringing together researchers so we have access to AGU sections, EGU divisions, JPGU divisions. Moriyama-san was going to be here, but he's trying to learn more about actionable data management plans. So you know that will help Japan, and our informatics teams, our repository teams, the editors of journals, because the journal community matters here, in order to identify and vet and manage those common resources at the discipline level. People are nodding their heads. It's a big task, but this is the place. No one can own this. It has to be common ground, and RDA is a brilliant common ground. Meredith, I'm bringing you with this mic. Meredith has her hand up. She's been nodding her full head off, and I'm so happy.
I'm grateful that all the geophysical unions are coming together because it does need to be a global good. WDS was very proud to offer a letter. Our scientific committee was very happy because this is exactly what we focus on. I do have a question. The RDA knowledge base, do we have a time frame on this? Because we get these questions every day, and I'm sure you do too. So help me answer those questions. Thank you.
Do you know any details on the knowledge base yourself? You know what it is. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to make sure. Okay. I'm checking because I don't consider myself an expert, but I was bold enough to put it up here. So Wim Hugo, who's out of Don's and has been elsewhere, and if you're an RDA old school person, you will know Wim. He was on behalf of RDA running a pilot, building a knowledge base, funding from the European Commission. Now, it is a bit delayed in getting complete because the website took priority. So we, if you're not familiar, we did a whole new RDA website. There was an entity that was vetted, and they became the firm to do the change. There was extensive requirements. Our data for RDA is, 11 years old, meaning we have a repository that's 11 years in the making. It's complicated. That entity, that consultant, failed. It did a terrible job. And the council's been working on how to resolve this, but they've secured a new entity, and we are now moving forward. This is all, you probably all have in your back pocket a similar problem with website redesign. It can be really fraught. Sadly, RDA hit that problem. Good news, RDA is getting out of that problem. So I think Vim and I have a meeting today, and I'm happy to grab your hand and you can take you with me to understand where he is. My belief is the infrastructure for the knowledge base will be extensible to disciplines. When I said that to him yesterday, he said, oh yes. And if it isn't, it should be, because this is the point. So whatever it is, it should be the answer for this. And I think that would be brilliant. And if it's not, then we have to rethink, and that's okay too. I didn't actually know about the knowledge base till I got here. So in my mind, there was a different solution. So, and I wasn't sure what that was. It was a gap. Hopefully somebody had something that we could hook onto, or we would just create something scrappy, which is not a good idea ever. Okay. Any other questions? Pedro, I didn't run that slide by you. Does that feel good for Brazil? Yes? Okay. Yes. All right. So for those of you who help with the data help desk that ESIP runs, this is in collaboration with ESIP's data help desk, all the experts, all the common questions, all the common answers. This is content they don't have easy access to. They have overarching content mostly. So this is in collaboration. Okay. The help desk, by the way, goes to, we went to Japan this last year. We, SRI, which is funded by Future Earth and the Belmont Forum, the help desk went there. We go to EGU now forever. We are, right? This next year we're good? Yes, okay. Okay, all right. Okay, no researcher says forever. So yes, next year we're secured. We are secured at AGU. AGU will be the biggest ever. So please, yes, please sign up and help and volunteer and be there and all of the things. And if anybody wants a kiosk helping defray the cost of the data help desk, I'm looking at you, Meredith. I don't know if you've got any money in your pocket. Are you you tried? Okay, all right, fair enough. I know. There's 2 kiosks left. So a kiosk, it's an exhibit. Never mind, Shelley, you don't sell yourself. Okay, go on. Okay. That was so easy. How much time do we have left? We have a lot of time left. Okay, we need to get to know you all. Excellent. All right, people online. I'm gonna stop sharing. Let's see. Raha, can you, oh, yeah, do you mind coming off and talking a little bit about your work at NFDI?
Are you talking to me? Yes. Hi.
I
Shelley.
am. Say
Hello.
yes. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about. Yeah.
Well, hello everyone. I don't know how many people are in the room. I have no idea. 2, 3, 300?
500. No.
Good.
It's
Well
it's like 15. Don't worry.
Yeah. So I'm from Germany. I'm actually English, but I work in Germany for a large kind of national infrastructure called NFDI. And I don't know, I see some Germans in the room, so you may well be aware of it and maybe affiliated yourselves, but for people outside Europe, it's an incredible initiative which is pulling together all the different disciplines in science in Germany to build a data infrastructure from the bottom up. So there's 26 consortia of all the different disciplines working together in their disciplines and finding solutions and encouraging data management. And I'm here with the hat of an Earth Sciences. It's called NFDI for Earth. And I'm sure people in the room have heard of this, but we'd very much, I'm not an earth scientist at all. I'm a librarian and I do other things during the day, but I work in an institution called Dresden University, Technical University, which coordinates NFDI for Earth. And I was talking to colleagues saying, you've got to get involved in our RDA. Come on, this is, they're doing really cool stuff at national level. Some tools have been established, including kind of repository labels and so on. We've written a commitment to engage the national community in RDM practices for the earth sciences, and a whole bunch of other stuff, webinars, tea time talks, all that kind of thing. So how can we get involved, Shelley, and how can we contribute? I need to find out how much capacity would be needed to help coordinate this community of practice, but we would like to share our expertise and learn and go on this journey together. The RDA buzzwords. So we're here and we're happy to identify maybe some common areas and get RDA to some of our meetings and that kind of thing, and encourage people to join the groups you have just been talking about and so on. Our door, we're open. I just need to find people to do it, but we're open for alignment.
My heart sings. Okay, so I don't remember the number of groups I wrote down that are of interest in the case statement.
You did a great job.
Are you there?
A really good case statement. Yeah, it's very comprehensive. We went over it before this meeting, and there's nothing missing. It's just.
Are you in it? Did I include you?
Yeah. But is it too late to get? I mean, I will ask if we could get some institutional approval, as you said, this letter. I don't know if that's.
If you could, if it's not too much trouble. Now listen, if it is
Okay.
trouble.
No. I think I could push some buttons and yeah.
If it's not too much trouble, I can forward you. Just make sure I have your. Do I have your email?
I'll chase you. Yeah.
Pop me an email and I'll get you the template. I think I gave. I think I have a template. I'm looking at Meredith.
Yeah. Okay, that would be.
Yep. And then it's a super simple thing, but it does show that we've got legs, that we can actually get places. And I would love to be very specific, calling out, NFDI Earth as, yes, we're here, we're present, and we don't know what the question is yet, but we're going to answer it. So, yeah.
But it's just to say, it's also a very large community. It's a very large consortium. Many data centers involved, many types of earthness, because I'm not an expert, but if you get what I mean, many different players across the national landscape are being brought together in this endeavor. Yeah. It's only in the second year. Yeah.
That's a new word. I am putting that on a slide. There's much earthness here. Yeah. That's beautiful. All right. Okay. Laurence. Hello. It's forever since I've spoken to you. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Very nice to see you, Shelley and Pedro, by the way. So I came to your meeting because, so first I was, as you know, I'm part of the SHARC group, so we are quite aligned with your will to credit people with data management and so on. Of course, so I was a little bit interested for sure by the complex citation envelope you were talking about. I couldn't attend, unfortunately, yesterday's meeting, so that was why I wanted to come today a little bit as well. The other thing is, so I'm not working, I'm working in the public health department, so we are not, strictly speaking, working on environmental data, though we are much interested in linking health data to environmental data. And what I could see is that we share many common issues. So it may be a bit early for me to to pop in your group, but I'm still interested to follow what you're doing, because at one point it's going to be important for health data as well.
Yep,
That's
right.
the general direction.
And interestingly, we've been thinking about this work now for our community, Earthness. That works, doesn't it? But I've also had during this week conversations with social scientists and humanities for their socialness, and the bio folks, bio and health. So being, if you could just keep connected, we might be able to do that. GeoHealth, in the U.S. we call it Superfund, but the impact that terrible chemicals have on land and how that affects. So, I'm sure that happens in more countries than it should, but that those connections are very strong. So, okay, and natural hazards is easy connection into public health and safety. So. Yeah, so the Earthness people, we partner nicely with many disciplines that we are commonly. Okay, great. So we have a bunch of people in the room. Let's see, how much time do we have left? We have half hour. So maybe we can pass the mic and do 2-3 minutes and get to know you, how you feel connected here, help us learn from you. Ankita, I see you joined in, but I also know you haven't followed our conversation, so I'm not going to call on you until you've had a chance to get settled. So no worries, you're okay. Pedro, you introduced Joyce. You're next. You can, if you want to stand, you can, but you don't have to.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joyce. I come from Botswana. Mainly, I deal with Earth observation. That's space technology. I just retired from University of Botswana, but now I'm researcher in Botswana Institute of Geomatics. During the planetary in Botswana, we did a bed of the same feathers, whereby all geomatics institutions where they have a group of, they use geospatial data, both remote sensing and geographical information systems. We came together and displayed that. And that is how I think we can join this group, although not everyone can attend planetary in various countries, but people in Botswana can attend visually. But it will be great and helpful if we work as a group. And then the main other thing is, which I didn't hear here, but possibly it is linked with uses outside academics, indigenous knowledge, because it is very, very important in Botswana to, how to collect the data, how to decipher data, and how to link data with in situ information into the remote sensing data. Thank you.
Yes, that's brilliant. That's fantastic. Back to you.
Hi, my name is Betsaida Zamora. I'm a master's student here at the University of Costa Rica. I'm a physicist. My field now is medical physics, and my research is based on radiation risk assessment of a facility that is just close by here, the cyclotron PET-CT facility. And I'm also working in like some other projects. One in particularly is between CERN and the Global Learning Council, where we are like a multidisciplinary group trying to build a tool to be used in the classroom related to the transition to clean energies. I'll be on the side working, like using the data. Yeah, and I'm just here getting to know about the Research Data Alliance. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Meredith Goins. I'm with the World Data System. Very happy to be a part of this group for a couple of reasons. One, we all have a challenge in getting the publishers and the data repositories to talk in a timely fashion, is how I'm going to say that. And anything that WGS can do to support our members who are trusted data repositories, that's where our focus is. We're there. We want to be there. I look forward to having further conversations, not just today, but at AGU. We hope to have somebody at EGU, and we'll have representation from our scientific committee at, is it JPGU? Yes, okay. Thank you. The acronym, I always have to check myself on that. Yes, the thing that I'm most excited about, and you're a great example, we are transdisciplinary. We are more and more working, it's not just Earth, it's Earth and health. It takes all of us to come together. So we need to not only be colleagues in the earth sciences, but remember your colleagues in all of the sciences, because we're interacting more and more together. So that's my call for cooperation. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Elger from GFZ in Germany. I'm working at the Geo Research Center, so that makes my direct link to this group. I'm running a data repository, so this brings in my data expertise, and I'm also I think I'm editor of one of the data journals, which means that I can even bring the point of view of publishers, but Martina, I must say, is editor at the same data journal. But then I'm one of the new CopDesk chairs, which is exactly the group that, with Shelley and with Danny, that is making it happen that the publishers speak. CopDesk. Okay, CopDesk. CopDesk is cool. The brief summary, I would say, is without CopDesk, we wouldn't have data availability statements in papers, especially in the geosciences. It all came from an assessment about 10 years after the first opportunity to make data supplements, to send your data files in any format without curation to a journal, and it was archived there. After 10 years, there was an assessment, and they discovered that the data were not used as expected, because sometimes they were not accessible, they were not described, you had just plain data, there was no curation at all. And then we had actually a case where a journal changed the publisher, and of course all the papers had been carefully transferred to re-link or re-register the DOIs, and 2 years later they discovered that all the data has been lost. They just forgot it. And to improve this, they have drafted a statement, their statement of commitment, that said, we would like to improve this. We want the data to be archived in repositories, and we allow the DOIs, if they're assigned with DOIs, we allow that they're cited in papers. And this was signed by all the major publishers. And the follow-on project, led by Shelley, enabling fair data in the aerospace and environmental sciences, was going a step further to get really rid of data supplements. I think we're not yet there. There's so many people who still do so. Yeah. But the good thing about this outcome is, of course, yet another statement, but with clear guidelines on what you have to do if you represent one of the groups. Like as a repository, you're supposed to, as a publisher, you encourage your people to whatever. And this is really these amazing resources, and seeing how that, and I'm running a repository, so I'm at this lower end of the food web. So I get the calls from people. I submitted my paper to an AGU journal, but it was rebounced because I don't have data access. So I said, yeah, but okay, then we do this preliminary link that allows the reviewers to look at the data during the review. And this is all in the line of CopDesk, and it's a really amazing achievement.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, I'm Bob Downs, and I'm from Columbia University at the Center for, we just changed our name again. we Center for Integrated Earth System Information. We keep making it shorter, but we just call it CEASIN, which is a lot simpler. and I'm representing the NASA Socioeconomic Data and Application Center. We just call that CDAC, and the NASA Earth Science Data Information System Standards Coordination Office, and the NASA Astro Materials Data System, which we just call Astromet. And yeah, I'm here because we're covering not only the earth sciences, but the space sciences. And so I think that, and I'm excited that as we learn more, we realize that the challenges aren't just in one domain. And some of the ways that we can address these can be addressed across different disciplines. And so I'm excited to see if we can make some headway in that direction and be able to make our data and our information more accessible to users across these disciplines. Thanks.
Natalie Rea, College of Information Science, University of Arizona. I'm going to take off of my working group cheerleader hat. I'm a geochemist by training and really excited about the vision that Shelley articulated for this community of practice. I've moved from the earthness space into the socialness space. And so I am thinking about the important role that librarians and library and information scientists will play in developing the vision of this community of practice, and really excited about that. Yesterday, we heard in a session about cross commons. How do we link across different data commons? And there was a vision of a fridge and having this very nice fridge that end users, data users can come to, open the fridge and find all of these various different types of linked data resources. And I think this community of practice is really important in ensuring that you know, the quote unquote, the food that goes into those fridges, the data gets into the correct fridge, and that we have the correct ingredients and instructions associated with how to package and kind of cook that food. So yeah, really excited to be here and to see see commonalities in kind of this transdisciplinary vision as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rodrigo Roa. I'm CEO of Data Observatory. It is a Chilean institution regarding data analysis, data acquiring, creating data. Regarding 4 fields, astronomy is one of our lead areas because Chile is a natural laboratory of space information. And among other areas such as Earth observation and natural resources regarding biodiversity. And we're very interested in knowing a little bit about standards and fair principles and try to apply them in our repositories and our country, of course. And we're very enthusiasm about participating in this group. And of course, I will, if you may, support with a letter regarding this initiative. So my job here is basically to learn, to know the environment and to be a part of it, and to give the Chilean perspective for all you. So that's it. Thank you.
Gracias. Hi, everyone. My name is Arturo Garduño. I am a regional engagement specialist for Latin America at DataSite. I'm based in Mexico City. And hey, yes, of course, very happy to do so. Mostly of the work is mainly to engage and to collaborate with the different organizations in the region, particularly with, for example, the Data Observatory that has a lot of astronomic data and geospatial data, of course. The University of Sao Paulo that has a fantastic set of information and data from the Amazon, among many other things, of course, and many other organizations in the region that has a very interesting information and data that are willing to open and to, well, standardized also to share with the community. I'm thinking also, for example, the CIMIT in Mexico that has a lot of data, genomic data, particularly in terms of the maize and wheat over the world. It's like the biggest database of grains and genomic data of maize and wheat all over the world. So it's great to be here to share with the community and also to learn from all of you. How do you implement best practices and how can we support also in the adoption of persistent identifiers and better use of citations to maximize the visibility of the research that we are doing. So thank you so much for receiving us today.
Well, welcome everybody here to this session. So I am Christian Paget from Fairfax in Southwest France in Toulouse. And I'm in the INES community, so it's a climate modeling community. And mainly I'm developing software tools to process climate data, to do data analysis. And also I'm involved in developing services and web interfaces as well for end users. And so with this work, it's very important for me, all the aspects related to provenance, lineage. So the citations are very important with respect to that. And also, since I'm developing software tools, citation of software is always something I think is very important to give credit for all this work and development. So this topic is very important for me.
So my name is Martina Stockhauser from the German Climate Computing Center. So we stay in the climate domain at the moment. So I'm involved in two parts in CMIP, which is the Coupled Model Intercomparison Project, a part of the World Climate Research Program. And I'm a member of the infrastructure panel there. So we are looking into standardization. One important group which we have in climate science is, for instance, Climate and Forecast, which is about to receive the Open Science Award at AGU. So standardization is also important for us. And just looking around, Meredith was mentioning cross-domain. So in the IPCC, where we introduced the FAIR guidelines for data for the first time in the 6th assessment report, we are running the IPCC Data Distribution Center together with several partners. So we have several domain repositories in that collaboration, I would say. So everything, I think, what was mentioned here is really important. We haven't got to the indigenous data problem so far, but it's on the radar. So it seems like a nutshell, our problems, so very similar to the community.
Thank you, Martina. Thank you, everyone. It looks like Arkita might have hopped off. It's understandable. Wow, so incredible support. So this is really very good. You never know, so it's nice to get that feedback. All right, so we have a little bit more time. Maybe let's take 5 or 6 more minutes before we head off to our, is it lunch that comes next? Lunch. I'm so hungry. My stomach's growling. So I did not want to, our community of practice is not yet approved, but we have the IG. So under the IG, we can continue moving forward. And in my mind, we need to organize ourselves. Our earthness and spaceness is quite big. How do we come to discipline-specific practices that make sense? I'll give you a for instance, and then that will give you a way to react. And please note that we're brainstorming. I have my notes document up, but we will have to involve everyone, and this will have to go out in an email with subsequent meetings. So if this is just to get your brain going, right? Like we don't have to figure it out in the next 5 minutes. Just so there's one of the researchers that's very active at AGU is very interested in making sure that data is as fair as possible from the instrument all the way through preservation. So the any experimental instrument, any commercial instrument manufacturers have common practices, or at least they align or map to, right? Like all of that. And then researchers have guidance for not losing any of that metadata, contributing to the metadata as they do their analysis, aggregation, whatever. And then at preservation time, picking the right repository and aligning best with metadata. So I'm just letting you know that's a little bit bigger than what I had pitched earlier. But what is similar is how he thinks about the disciplines. So brace yourself. Here we go. Biosphere, cryosphere, natural hazards, and critical zone. You all have opinions. I'm looking at your faces. You're like, wouldn't have done it that way. Or does that make sense? So these are all, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking of all of the different disciplines within AGU. I'm thinking just those four topics hit all but planets. I feel like it pulled in all of the sections: biogeo, Earth's solid Earth. I'm thinking, oh, the journals are in my mind, not the section titles. I can't remember. How would you come at it? How would you organize discipline-specific guidance if it was your task to do it? How would you do it? Anybody feeling it? Anybody online? You would do it as a group. Oh, wait, Natalie has. Oh, go for it.
I was just thinking about, and I do have this bias. I'm an AGU member and belong to the volcanology and geochemistry and petrology section. Natural hazards capture some of that, but I was wondering if there's also a space for like solid earth experimental to capture some of the experimental work, and then also needing to have a space one. Yeah. But other than that, I think those four that you mentioned to me make sense, as long as we make sure that we bring in the experimental people. Yes. Yeah. So it's yeah. Maybe it's natural hazards and solid earth or something. I don't know.
And it's probably worth okay, so and it's experimental because they need more flexibility. No. Okay. Why separate?
It's experimental, right? Yeah, it's hard because each of the four that you listed have people who do analog and experimental work. So maybe it's more that that the solid earth, that I think solid earth fits well into some of the hazards, but I think there will be some people that look at hazards and don't see themselves. Yeah.
So I can see like a matrixed diagram, like, well, because some data aggregates in different ways depending on which research type we're looking at. So if we talk about data type versus research type and we map it both directions, we'll know who to pull in for each of the efforts that we have, whatever those are, which, by the way, we have to start thinking about. Okay, that's good to know. Bob, you're our space guy. Does it offend? you... Oh, wait.
It might be considered. Oh, right. So what's the question?
The question is, does it offend you if, that's right, does it offend you if we not focus on space because of the work that NASA and other space agencies are doing around capturing data, making sure the metadata is good because it's so well funded already.
No, I certainly wouldn't be offended by that. I think that we have an opportunity to learn from what they've done, but I think people at NASA would be the first to tell you that they don't have all the answers and that they would welcome the opportunity to learn from any progress we can make.
Brilliant answer, Bob. Okay, all right, excellent. So good, good. That's excellent. And then if we were thinking about the disciplines, heliophysics, exoplanets, I think you could probably inform us as to what those types were when we, yeah, big gas people and little cold people, and you divide your people up. I'm sorry. If you're a space person, you're laughing. You're like, she has no idea. You're right. I don't. Okay, let's keep going. Sorry, Bob. Cold, small giants and big gassy giants, and I don't know. There's more out there, and the JWST people looking out to the Netherlands. So thank you. All right. So let's go ahead and close this out for now. This has been fantastic, everyone. Thanks for coming.